Hey y'all, in this video, I'll be showing you how to draw not one, but two 3/4 poses using the 9 heads croquis method. Let's get right into it. You'll need your pencil, a pen, I'm using this felt tip Sharpie, 2 to 3 colored markers, an eraser, your ruler, and of course your sketchbook or paper. Let's start with your paper. About 1/4 of an inch down, you're going to start by making horizontal lines. Make these lines an inch apart and you'll have 11 total. Then skip the very first line and number them 1 through 9. Between lines 1 and 2, 1/2 of an inch down, you're going to make a dashed horizontal line. And then underneath line number 4, 1/4 of an inch down, make another dashed horizontal line. Once you're done with that, fold your paper in half and then draw a vertical line straight down the center of the paper. Next, label the anatomy on your line. So number 1 is the head. That halfway point between 1 and 2 is the shoulder. Number 2 is the center bust. Number 3, the waist/elbow. Number 4 is the hip/wrist. Underneath it at that 1/4 of an inch down dash line is the crotch line. Number 5 is mid-thigh. Number 6, the knees. Number 7, the calf. And number 9, the ankle. Before we start off with our static or still view pose, I'd like for you to practice your heads off to the side of the paper. So the heads are just ovals. Now there is another way to draw the head. You can draw an almond shape or upside down almond. That'll give you a more defined chin on your sketch. That way you don't have to go back and shape it in. Plus it'll save you a little bit of time during the cleanup process before you create your final template. Okay, let's start with the head. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use the almond shape. And if you notice, I'm not drawing it directly on the center line. I'm drawing it off about 1/3 of the way. Next, you'll want to draw a line at a slight angle for the shoulder. Now, the width of this line should be 2 times the width of your head. Normally, I draw my heads at about 5/8 of an inch. It doesn't have to be exact, but the reason why I do that is because my fingertip is about 5/8 of an inch wide, and I can go back and use my fingers as a guide when I'm drawing the rest of the body. So I'm going to clean this up, make it just a little bit bigger, so that way it'll be the width of my finger or 5/8. So you'll want to make the shoulder line 2 times the width of your head. So in my case, my shoulder line would be 1.25 inches. So 5/8 times 2. If you're drawing your head and it's a 1/2 inch wide, then your width of your line will be 1 inch. Then across line number 2, you're going to make a line that's parallel to that shoulder line that you just created, but slightly shorter. Next on line number 3, we're going to make our waistline, and it's going to be 1 head in width. Now I'm just using my finger as a quick guide. This line is going to curve slightly upward to create that twist in the torso. And at line number 4, I'm going to go ahead and draw my hip line, so 2 fingers wide. Now the hip line is going to angle downward from your shoulder line, so it'll go in the opposite direction of your shoulder line. And make your dot for the crotch slightly to the right and just below the crotch line. Now we're going to make 2 big dots, one at the end of each point of our shoulder line. Then we're going to draw a line down to that center bust line, and then another line down to the waist, and then another line from the waist to the end of the hip line, and one final set of lines connecting from the hip to the crotch point. Come back up to the head and we'll draw our basic shape for the neck. So you'll want to create 2 parallel lines or a cylinder shape right underneath the head, and you'll want them to slightly curve in the same direction. Now we'll redraw our guideline for the center front. So about the center of the neck shape that we just created, you're going to draw a curved line running down the top of the torso all the way down to the crotch line. And the reason why we're doing the curve opening to the right is because the head is slightly turned in that direction, so you want the neck and the center line to curve in the same direction. Now let's make our elbow dot. So at line number 3, about 1/4 of an inch up on the left hand side and about 1/2 inch away from the torso. Then on the right hand side, you'll make your dot right on that number 3 line. That one will be about 1/2 inch away from the torso. Then repeat that process at line number 4 for your wrist dots. Now let's draw our dots for our knees and ankles. So for this, you can take the ruler and loosely line up at line number 6. You're going to make your dot for your left knee. And for the right knee, on the right hand side of that center front line, about 1/4 of an inch away, you're going to make another dot. Now let's go down to the ankles. At line number 9 on the left side, you're going to make a dot that lines up with that line number 6 dot. And for the right ankle, on the left hand side of that center front line, about a quarter of an inch away from the line, you're going to make another dot. Trust me, it will make sense when we start to connect the dots, which we're going to do right now. So let's connect the arm. So from the shoulder dot to the elbow dot, you can make a straight line, and then from elbow to wrist. But if you're feeling brave, you can go ahead and draw in your skinny ovals. You're going to make a skinny oval from the shoulder dot to line number 2. And then from line number 2 down to the elbow dot, you'll make another skinny oval. And then for the forearm, you're going to make one long skinny oval, taking it from the elbow dot all the way down to the wrist dot. And for the right arm, you're going to repeat this same process. And for your hands, you're just going to make 2 small triangles, one on each arm. You're doing amazing. Now let's draw the legs. Starting at the middle of that left crotch line, you're going to draw a line connecting to dot number 6. Then repeat that on the right hand side, so about the middle of the crotch line, and drop that line all the way down to dot number 6. And then you're going to repeat that from knee dot to ankle dot. Just drop a straight line down, connecting the dots. Now I'm eyeballing this, but of course, at any point you're doing these tutorials, you can use your ruler. So I'm just going to go back and connect my dots. I faintly drew it in while I was eyeballing it, but I'm going to take the ruler and just go back over the lines to make them a little bit stronger. We're almost done with our girly here, and just remember y'all, at any point during these tutorials, you can use your tools, you can use your ruler, eraser, what have you. Just because you see me eyeballing something doesn't mean you have to stick to that. So now we're going to finish up with the feet. Starting with the left foot, and it's going to be slightly turned to the left, you're going to make a skinny triangle all the way down to the bottom line, and then on the farthest left hand side, it's going to extend slightly past the line. Then coming back up to the ankle dot, you're just going to make a circle that extends on the right hand side. Then below that triangle for the foot, we're going to make an extended triangle that's going to jut out a little bit more to the left. I'm going to clean that up a little bit before we draw the right foot. And then for the right foot, we're just going to make a triangle, one large triangle all the way down to the bottom line, and then a small upside down triangle or inverted triangle just below the bottom line. All right, let's go back up and build the legs out. So we're going to take a line from that end of the hip point down to the knees and back up. So essentially here you're just making one big triangle. So from hip to knee dot, and then knee dot to the crotch point, and then repeat on the right hand side. Now for the left calf, from the knee dot number 6 down to line number 7, you're going to make a capital letter D. And for the right calf, from the knee dot down to line number 7, you're going to make a slender oval. And you want it to just barely graze that main center front line and overlap your actual leg line. To finish off your legs, on the left leg, you're just going to make a line connecting from the ankle to the calf on the left hand side. Then for the right leg, draw a straight line connecting the ankle to the calf, one on the right hand side, and then just ever so slightly on the left hand side. Now we're going to go back up to the top and put some shaping in. So you're going to connect your shoulder to your neck. When you make those 2 connecting lines, you'll start at the center of your main neck shape. And on both sides, carry those lines along the outer curves. And you can go ahead and draw your bust. So you're going to make a W. So a curvy W from the outer edge to the center front point. And at this point, you're just going to go ahead and outline the rest of the sketch. So just adding shape to the body and softening up these lines just so that way your girl is not as angular with our base sketch template. So we're just going to keep putting in some curves and going around the edges, softening up the lines. So go ahead and do that now. And by the way, if you're finding value in this tutorial, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the notification bell so you never miss out on videos like this. All right, let's keep shaping up her legs. So taking those lines all the way down on the outside and just filling in the curves. And keep going because you're doing amazing. For the hands, I'm going to round off upside down U's. So make bubble U's turned upside down. And then for the extended pinky, that's going to be a skinny triangle as well. Once you finish up those hands, just keep blending and building out her shape. Once you have your girl nice and shapely, you can go back in and add that center neckline and then draw in your princess seams on the top half and the bottom half. And I'm also going to show you how to draw the hand grazing the body slightly on the hip. So you're going to just take a curved line and from the line number 2 down to the waistline, connect that. And then from the line number 3 down to line number 4. Then you're going to fill those in with half an oval. And for the hand, you can make a triangle off to the side. Have that second arm placement option drawn in. I recommend tracing it out in one color and then the main arm tracing it out in a second color, just so that way when you are using this template, you know exactly which arm is which. And this step is totally optional, but I do recommend tracing out the torso in a third color if you have it, or a contrasting color, just so that way you can differentiate between the arms and the body. All right, excellent. Now that we've got the static girl done, let's work on the dynamic girly. So we'll start off again by drawing our head. This time we're going to make it slightly off center. So just go ahead and draw that almond shape on line number 1. I'm going to measure it with my finger and also with the ruler. Just double check and make sure I've got my 5/8, so we're good. I'm going to use 2 fingers to measure my shoulder line. Now this one is going to angle in the opposite direction from our original sketch. So once you've got that marked, just go ahead and use your ruler to draw that line in. Draw another angled line at line number 2 for the bust, slightly shorter and running parallel to your shoulder line. Drop down to line number 3 and mark your points for your waistline. So this one will be angled 2 and curving upward like a Nike check. At line number 4, you're going to take 2 finger widths or 2 heads widths and mark your points for your hips. This line is also going to angle parallel with your shoulder and bust line, and then go ahead and draw that line in. And then mark your crotch point at the center of that hip line, slightly above the dash line, on the right hand side of your main center line. Let's go back up to the shoulder line and we're going to draw our dots on the ends of those lines. And now because she's angled more forward, we're going to take that shoulder dot and draw a straight line all the way down to the waistline. And we're going to make another straight line from the waist to the hip point. And then you're going to do this for both sides. So draw a straight line to connect those points. And then you're going to make another straight line from the crotch point, connecting back up to the hip line. And go ahead and do that for both sides as well. And in similar fashion to our original sketch, we're going to mark our dot points for our elbows and our wrists. So on the left hand side, you're going to mark that elbow dot just slightly above the elbow line number 3 and about 5/8 of an inch away from the torso. And for the elbow dot on the right, you want it 1/2 inch up from line number 3 and 1/2 inch away from the torso. For the left wrist dot, you want it on line number 3 and 1/2 inch away from the torso. And for the right, you want it 5/8 of an inch away from the hip line and about 1/2 inch up from line number 4. All right, let's draw our knee and ankle dots. So on line number 6, you're going to make a dot where that intersection point hits, but on the right hand side. And you're going to draw a second dot about 1/2 inch away to the right. Then directly on line number 9, you're going to draw one dot 1/2 inch away to the left and another dot about 1.125 or 1.25 away to the right. So far, so good. So now we're going to go back up to the top and then draw in our neck shape. So your 2 parallel lines connecting your neck to your torso. And then we're going to go ahead and fill in the arms. So making your ovals just like we did in the original sketch. So go ahead and fill in your ovals now. So the 2 upper arm ovals and then the elbow dot to the wrist point oval. And then once you're done filling those in and connecting those dot points, don't forget to draw your little triangles in at the end of the wrist dots for your hands. Now we're going to draw our lines for our legs, so they're going to make an X shape because the lines are going to crisscross. We're going to work on the leg that's closest to us first, or the line that's closest to us first. So in the center of that hip line, on the left hand side, you're going to make a line connecting from that point down to the knee. Dot that's farthest away from that center front line, and then you're going to make another angled line connecting that knee dot down to the ankle dot. So it's not going to be a truly straight line. Then for that back leg, starting at the center of the right hip point, we're going to make a curved line connecting to that other knee dot, and then a straight line from that knee dot down to the ankle dot. We're going to make our triangle for our feet on this back leg while we're here. So make your triangle, and you're going to have it just slightly above that last line at the bottom. Then you'll make your smaller inverted triangle going across that line, and you're going to make it about halfway through that line. And then we'll make our triangle for our other foot on the front leg. So this one is going to be slightly below that last line and a little bit bigger. So go ahead and make that triangle, and then your inverted triangle for the tip of your foot. Now let's go back and shape out the legs. So starting with the front leg at that left hip point, you're going to make your triangle connecting all the way down to that front knee point. Then from the crotch point to that knee point as well. And then from that knee dot down to line number 7, you're going to make your calf, so the skinny oval. And it's going to be centered on that leg line. And then we're going to make a blended line going down to the ankle point. Now I'm just cleaning it up a bit. Now for our back leg, so from that right hip point, we're going to make a curved line, and that line is going to hit about 1/4 inch up from our knee dot, and then where the lines cross, you're going to make a small triangle to the back, then make your skinny oval for your calf. Now this one is just going to angle to the left of that back leg line, and then you're going to blend. Almost forgot about this back thigh, so up here at this intersection point, just draw a line straight down. All right, and we're going to blend out that line from the calf down to the ankle. So you're going to have a skinny triangle for that. All right, so we've got our dynamic skeleton base done. So let's go back up to the top and put some shape to our girl. So we're going to start off with the neck and blend that line back up to the neck. Just like our original sketch, you're going to make a straight line at center and connect it, and then blend it back out. And then you're going to blend all along the outer curves of the body. So go ahead and do that now. Take it all the way down your sketch from your top of your torso down to your feet. And for our hands, it's just more of a U shape, curving back out, and then a little triangle for the smaller fingers. Don't forget to draw on your bust, which is that curvy W. Okay, and just like we did on the first sketch, keep blending out until you're happy with your girl's shape. I'm just drawing in my underwear line and shaping up the body. And once you have all your shaping done, don't forget to add your princess seams. And at this point, if you'd like to add that second hand position to your dynamic sketch, you can. And now I'm just going to outline that closer arm placement with my red marker, and then that second arm with the green. And I'm just going to add in my final style lines on both sketches. And I encourage you to practice your sketching whenever you can. Once you have these base templates done, you can retrace them over and over again. Just make sure you hold on to your original sketches. And if you're using a sketchbook, it's good to keep them in one place. And if you're using loose paper, I encourage you to get maybe sheet protectors and a binder to keep them all in. That way, when you are getting ready to draw something, you can just pull these out, trace it, and then draw your clothes on them. And if you missed any of my previous drawing tutorials, I'll leave links in the description box below. That way you can check those out too. And just so that way you can see what's possible with these croquis templates, here are a few of my sketches from my previous video that I posted. All three are from the dynamic pose that we just completed. So this one here, you can get a lot of variety from just one sketch alone. So try it out and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, then check out my lineup of beginner-friendly sketch tutorials here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, y'all, keep sketching, keep sewing, and keep the momentum going. Take care.